Hello everybody, it's Elizabeth here, and today I wanted to talk a bit about what stakeholder engagement really is and what it means to engage stakeholders, because often we talk about stakeholder engagement as if it's some kind of abstract thing, but really it is very tangible, very concrete, and something that we can all do if you've got the right tools. So I have some tips and tricks today to share with you from my Stakeholder Management Masterclass. And I just want to check that the video is recording fine, and it is, so that's perfect. So let me tell you about what stakeholder management is, in my opinion. So what is engagement? What is it that we're talking about? I talk about engagement, not management. I don't think you can manage people's reactions or behaviours, and it's arrogant to think that you can. So reframing the language helps you see things in a different way and be open to the idea of working together, gaining commitment, being part of a wider team. So this is all the language of engagement. It's about seeing yourself as an equal and having conversations that set you as an equal. And I know that can be hard to do, but as a project manager, you're in a role that is unique. There's no one else in the business doing the work that you are doing, and you've got that job because your management team trusts you to do it. It's a huge credit to you that they think that you're capable of doing that, whether your projects are big or small. So wherever you can, you have to stop thinking that you are managing your projects in a subservient delivery role and start thinking that you have something to bring to the table that others don't have. And that makes you equal in your professional skills and outlook, even if you don't feel particularly equal on the organisation chart. So there's an equal partnership thing there as well. It's also about helping people take part in the project and do what they're asked to do. And I know getting people to take responsibility is a huge issue for lots of you. And my Stakeholder Management Masterclass, the whole thing, takes you through that. And there's lots of information in there about how do you get people to take responsibility. But when you approach your stakeholders with an engagement potential, an engagement view, it's incredibly powerful and it gives you enormous potential. You can remove some of the people roadblocks that stop your project, and if you can do that, then you can go a long way to achieving the objectives of your project. It's a smoother journey. So who are you engaging? Do you even know who your stakeholders are? Well, there's lots of different types of engagement that it's important to do. So you're engaging in lots of different ways. First, you need to engage up. So you're engaging up to your sponsor and your management team. You're then engaging across the immediate team members and the wider project team. Then you want to be engaging out to other people. So these are the stakeholders who are not part of your core team, but they're the interested people that you need to work with. And then you are engaging that's what I say, engaging throughout, as with other people that you've identified through the stakeholder engagement exercises that you do. Right, so now I wanted to give you a bit of framework as to how should we identify and manage those stakeholders. The prioritization framework that I use, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on stakeholder identification today, this is just a taster, but prioritization of stakeholders is a big deal because you have not got time to engage them all. So you need to split out who are the most important people on your stakeholder register and where you want to spend your time and engagement efforts. So the primary stakeholders, and then there's secondary, and then there's interested. So let's look at those. Primary stakeholders, these are the people who do the process. They are the key subject matter experts. They agree what's in the scope. They agree what's not in scope. They know how much they're prepared to invest time and energy in getting their outcomes. And I would generally say this is where you want to spend your energy. You need to be working with them. You're engaging with this lot. They are going to shape the project. You've got your secondary stakeholders as well. I'll just click on. These people, they're affected by what's happening on the project. They might have an input into the scope. They'll give their opinions. And they shape and define the results. Fine, but they have less of a vote. They are not as influential. The project might be a challenge for us, it might be a challenge for them too. It's going to affect them, but actually in the bigger picture, their opinion counts for less. You know, we have to accept that for some people. Then we have the people who are just interested. These are your opinionated stakeholders. They've got no direct involvement in the project or the process. They're curious. They might still feel like they want to say, and they might still have a say, but they have no managerial interest in how the process is performed. They're not a supplier. They're not involved in delivering the project or the process. So you need to weigh up how much time you want to spend engaging with them. Do you want to do that on a reactive basis? So as questions are coming in from them, you will work with them, but you're not going to necessarily seek input from them and go out and solicit their views and really be on top of doing loads of engagement work with this group. There's just not enough hours in the day, and the value and the return on that work would be just too small. So that's my 2 cents on how you can prioritize your stakeholders. So as I say, you need to make some effort to prioritize your stakeholders that you've identified, just because there is not enough hours in the day to do a fantastic engagement job with absolutely everyone. So once you've gone through your stakeholder identification exercise, then you put your prioritization layer on front. You can use that 3-point framework if you like, and you'll have an identified list of stakeholders and a view of how they should be prioritized. So now we know who they are, we need to think, what do they care about? Why are they part of our project? If we understand what they care about, we understand who we're doing the project for and what these people want to get out of it. So you're thinking to try and understand, what are they interested in? What do they hope is going to happen? What do they want to happen? What are they worried about? There might be substantial changes happening as a result of this project that might be keeping them up at night. So knowing their worries will help you address those. If you can address that, you can reduce the resistance to change. And there might be things that they are absolutely passionate about keeping the same. And the more you're aware of this kind of thing, the easier it is for you to react accordingly. So how do you find out what they are interested in, what they're worried about, and what they're passionate about, what they want out of this project? It's easy. It really is easy. This is a first engagement technique that you can use. It's just talk to people. You can do interviews. You can do meetings on a one-on-one basis. They can be formal or informal. And you can do some focus groups as well. So in a group setting, so you've got one-to-one conversations you can have with people, and they're likely to be more honest in that kind of situation. But you can do group conversations with stakeholders as well, typically a workshop. You can do surveys, which is an asynchronous type of way of finding out what stakeholders want. That tends to have good and bad results. Good in that it's anonymous, or you can make it anonymous, so you can get quite honest feedback about how people feel about the project and what they want to get out of it. But on the other hand, it's quite likely you won't get everybody's responses. So good survey responses typically are single-digit figures, and you've got the challenge that your responses are skewed and shaped by the questions, however it's set up if you're not a professional marketing person, and also who responds. You won't get a representative audience. Depending on your project and who you're engaging, it still might be worth considering surveys, but just something to take into account. And asynchronous types of conversation could also be on email. It's anything that doesn't happen in real time, really. So those are some options for how you can find out what the people on your project care about. And if you're approaching it from that perspective, it gives you the option to look deeply into why you think they're reacting the way that they do, and then how you can improve your stakeholder engagement. Next thing to think about is, what are you engaging them in? So you probably know all of this because you live and breathe your project every single day. But there are 2 different things that we're trying to engage our stakeholders in. We are engaging them in the project deliverables, the outcomes, so whatever it is that you are doing as part of your project, but also the project management process itself. If they don't know the project, you're going to have to explain the background to them, what the deliverables are, what the outcomes should be, and it's really important that you don't assume that they've had the same kind of briefing as you. Because as a project manager, as a project leader, you will have far more information than 90% of the stakeholders that you work with. People are often told what to do without understanding why they're supposed to do it. And if you can understand why you're doing a job, it just makes doing the job easier. It does for you, it does for everybody else. So if you've ever tried to deliver something without understanding why you're doing it, you'll definitely know what I mean. And I think you'll agree you will get definitely better engagement from people if they understand why and what this whole project is all about. So there's that part of engagement to do. There's also some engagement to do about the project management process. It might be something that they're unfamiliar with. You might be making demands on them that they're not used to doing, like weekly reporting or updates for the project board, or expecting them to do timesheets or expecting them to do estimates. They might be new to all of those things, or they might have done them in the past because they've been involved with projects, but they've never been told why they have to do them, or they don't understand the value of project management. So there's some coaching, some instruction to give to people who are not as familiar with projects and how projects are set up. So there's an engagement piece to do there. It is worth quickly explaining your role, what you bring to the project, and you keep the work progressing on plan and on budget, and you can make sure everyone has what they need to do their job. And if they have problems, they know then you already have a relationship with them. They can bring them to you and you can help unblock them. So run them through the project management process or the life cycle, and your kickoff meeting is a good way to do that so that everybody's got a common understanding of what is going to happen on the project. So the next takeaway I have for you is the more you understand about your stakeholders and what you are doing, the easier it is to engage them. I know that's not rocket science. In other words, you just have to be super clear about your objectives and what you want from them. Otherwise, you're just like the builders who are working on our house right now. They were surprised that we hadn't ordered the bathroom suite to come, and no one told us that that was what they expected. So we did rush around, we did get one, but if they told us that in advance, then obviously we would have had all the different bits of the bathroom that they needed to fit. They would have all been here waiting for them. But they worked in a very different environment with different assumptions of what we knew, and we just didn't know that was what was expected of us. If you aren't clear on your plans, then you can't expect anyone else to be clear on them either. So that's just been a tiny taster of what's inside my Stakeholder Management Masterclass. I thought this is a really great part to start with because it's all about understanding who stakeholders are. And I wanted to give you, what's that been, 10 minutes, a brief introduction of the kind of content that that I deliver inside the Stakeholder Management Masterclass. So there's 4 different sections inside it, and the one that the chunk I've just delivered, or the chunk I've just been telling you about, is the part from the first module, which is about looking beyond the stakeholder register and how stakeholder management is far more than just sticking names on a spreadsheet. So we look at how to do engagement. We also look at how to compete for your stakeholders' time, because I work with lots of project managers and I hear time and time again from loads of people, stakeholders are too busy, they don't prioritise my project, I can't get in front of them, I can't get the decisions made in time. So we have some strategies that help you do that so that you can make your project in their face in a nice way, and so they understand why it's important. In the third sessions, we're looking at gaining authority and getting support, and this is really about making sure that as a project manager that you can step up and say, I am doing this because I am in a position of authority to do it, and you will do what I ask you to do. So this is about making sure your colleagues are taking responsibility for their part of the project, setting up roles and responsibilities, getting the decisions that you need made, and also presenting yourself in a really confident and professional way so that people take you seriously. Because that's another big issue that I think a lot of project managers have, is especially in project management environments that are not particularly mature, getting taken seriously in the role can be a real challenge. So we dig into that. And then we also look at managing conflict, because stakeholder management is far more around how do you deal with the personnel situations and the relationships between people than it is about just knowing who they are. It's knowing who they are, knowing how to work with them. So we do some stuff on conflict management as well. So I know that's been a bit of a brief whistle-stop tour, but I thought for some of you who've received an email from me this week about the Stakeholder Management Masterclass Thanksgiving special offer, even though in the UK here we don't really do Thanksgiving, I thought that it might be worth explaining a little bit more about what the kind of things would be if you did want to go ahead and learn more about stakeholder management. So we have a fantastic offer on, because everyone seems to be doing Black Friday offers at the moment, I thought I would do one too. And you can get hold of the full course. There's a little picture there of what it looks like on your dashboard when you log in and the different modules. There's some bonus videos and things, and lots of handouts and freebies and checklists and downloads and reflection exercises so that you can really get the best out of the course. And if you go to girlsguidetopm.com/masterclass, all the information and the pricing information is there too. And at the moment it's $47, and that closes on the 30th of November. So thank you very much. Hopefully that's given you a bit of a taste of what's inside the masterclass. I know there were some comments on the video, so let me just have a look at that. Just wanted to say hi to Mark. Hello, Mark. How are you? And hello to Zarina. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. And hopefully that video was helpful. Thanks very much, everybody. I will speak to you next week. Bye.